Hey everyone, it's ReZoura hitting you with a DMC video. This is going to be unedited audio-wise, but video-wise there will be like probably a few edits, but just like, gameplay and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about what the description and title reads. I've been around on the internet fairly for about probably 2 to 3 days. I've read different reviews, articles and YouTubers' inputs on the situation. So most of them are very understanding. Some of them are very disappointed that there's no DLCs, and I think personally, before we get our emotions too in tune with the situation and the decision, quote-unquote decision, let's go ahead and take a few steps back. It took them 10 years for them to make this game possible, after Devil May Cry 4 SE and after Devil May Cry DMC Definitive Edition. Hideaki Itsuno took a lot of inspiration from that game, and going back probably 4 to 3 months ago, Matt Walker went into an interview and basically was talking to us about how long it takes to develop a character. I said longer than a live action film. This makes sense why it initially took them 10 years to perfect and to process the characters, the renders, the face models, the all that good stuff, the motion caps, because they didn't just do the motion capture in America, they had to do it in Japan too. So we had different, the variety of extensive stretching that they had to do. Personally, they've given us a good game. I like it. I like it. It's a good game. Story-wise, people are not really liking it. Some people don't like V. Don't really like the character. Before we go a little bit more into depth, I'll read you the article. Devil May Cry 5 has ceased development and there is no more content planned. Now that Devil May Cry 5 has been out for a while, fans are eager for Capcom to release more content. There were some rumblings about a possible add-on that would include the ability to play Trish or Lady, but one of the producers of the game, Matt Walker, squashed that rumor on Twitter recently. After a fan asked if more content would be coming, including the ability to play as the ladies, and Walker noted that he'd like that, but the development of Devil May Cry 5 has ended. Here's the tweet. A fan asks, Gypsy Otoko, I've been hearing rumors of a Ladies' Night DLC. Is there any validity at all with these DMC5, or is DMC5 finished? Matt Walker says, unfortunately, Dev on Devil May Cry 5 is finished. I'd personally like to see the ladies playable too, but we can only hope at some point we can convince the people up top that it's worth doing. Following that comment, Walker repeated himself in tweet saying that there are no more plans for Devil May Cry 5 content. However, he also stated that we would love to see some Resident Evil titles in the works since Resident Evil 2 was such a huge success. Interesting. There's a tweet, if you'd like to read that. Although a remake of Resident Evil 3 has not been confirmed, it would be shocking if Capcom hasn't already started development on it. We'll have to wait and see, but it seems like a no-brainer to follow with Resident Evil 3, which Capcom might have been teasing on Twitter earlier this month. Devil May Cry 5 was also a success, reaching over 2 million units sold within a couple of weeks of being available. This number has likely increased since it's been out for over a month now, and the director Hideaki Itsuno has stated that the team has moved on to another project. So now, reading that article and what Matt had said, we can go back to probably 5 months ago. Matt Walker had talked to us about how the fans, their input and their requests are very important to them, and how that they basically thrive on the input. Hideaki Itsuno took to Twitter telling us that if we got enough response for a new DLC character, that he'll make that happen, considering he is the main guy in the whole project, Going back to that, what he said, let's go ahead and look at the story perspective. That this story that we have also touches up on DMC 3 and 2 and 4. With that being said, there are a huge amount of requesters for Vergil, and with that being said, of course I'm one of them, Team Vergil for me. But when you really think about it, you have Vergil is already in the game. We technically are already playing as him, his human form. If you really think about it, DMC3 we played, and DMC4 we played Vergil in his whole entirety. Now they've taken this whole concept of human side and demon side to a whole new level. We know that both his mother and father were different from different worlds. Now they've taken that and they've actually incorporated and implemented that with the characters themselves. Except Dante, it's a bit different, but with Vergil, it's like it's a lot different, of course, and it's like more complex, if that makes sense. People want Vergil, but realistically, ultimately, we have Vergil as a character already. He's V. Right? That's his alias. That's his alias for who he is. So he's V. Vergil in his human form, his human side, you would say. And then we have the other side of Vergil, which is his demon side. So we play with Vergil when he's human, just completely human, and he utilizes these nightmares, right? Apparently these are his nightmares in his mind that were manifested and controlled by Vergil and Mundus, in a sense, apparently, just how Griffin had stated it before he died. We have this whole new thing with Vergil. So they've implemented that. That's already a character that we have. We have Vergil, so, you know, in a sense, we might not really be getting Vergil at all. Most people like Halfpaint. He had stated this probably a few months ago, and not a few months ago, but before. He said that he was Team Lady. He wanted Lady, probably even Trish. And then from what we've seen from the PC users, they've found some kind of coding for Ladies Night DLC, and I believe some kind of Vergil DLC, if I'm correct. Hideaki took a lot of inspiration from DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition and the original, very first installment. With this being said, why not give us DMC 5 universe, like this DMC, the original universe of Devil May Cry 5? Give us a DMC 5 Vergil's Downfall, considering DMC Devil May Cry actually had a DLC like that, which was initially what it stated Vergil's Downfall. Of course, I've stated this multitude of times within my community tab that I would have loved to see Vergil turn to Nilo Angelo. I just would love to see that happen, regardless if it's the armor that was put on him. I would love to see how that whole thing happened. I would love to see the battle between Vergil and Mundus. That's a great DLC to put in. Or all of this can be incorporated into one big project that they can give to us, and then maybe later on down the line, something for Lady and Trish. Considering that when you have all these different modern games coming into the new world, into 2019, 2020, and so forth on, and not only, but we're having the PS5, you have all these projects that have a multitude of DLCs. Black Ops 4 has so many DLCs. Of course, of the different genres and whatnot. But my point is that we are in a world of DLC now. It's no longer PS2, Xbox One. We have just the first Xbox, I might add. We have it's come so far from that, and I would love to genuinely have a DLC, more DLC for Devil May Cry 5, because these two last implementations and these last two installments, Devil May Cry 4 SE and Devil May Cry 5, would be the very two games in this franchise that actually have DLCs, and that's a huge upgrade. So we have been waiting 10 years for DLCs. Why not take advantage of that? There are people money throwing at them, telling them, please give me more content because we would love to really fully invest into the game we love. 2 million copies sold worldwide in the first 2 weeks of its release. So that tells you a lot. It tells you that the fans really love this game. They were so excited, the hype, the suspense that they gave us, and how they've built that throughout the last few months with their events, demo events, so much that they've given us, and we want more. Like, I don't understand, right? It's a bit sketchy. And this is why I say this is all sketchy. In DMC 3, 2, and not 1, I believe, they have unlockables, like costume unlockables. Of course, the typical Devil May Cry, Dante Must Die mode. You get the super characters, Infinite, Devil Trigger, DT, whatever they throw at you that's infinite. That wasn't infinite previously. We got that, right? Costumes, Vergil costumes, Dante costumes for DMC 3, DMC 4. We have costumes for Vergil, costumes for Nero, costumes for Dante as unlockables when you beat certain modes. And DMC 5, excuse me, there's like a whole bunch of crickets everywhere. You beat Son of Sparta, nothing. Human mode, nothing. You do get alternative costumes, but these are initially DLCs that you download, I believe, if I'm correct. But, you see my point here, that the DMC that we have come to know has somewhat been pulled away from us. And it's very suspicious to me. Very suspicious, because we've had unlockable characters, unlockable, like DMC 2, we had unlockable Lucia. They had a 2-disc edition of the game, and now when we beat different modes, we don't get what we used to get. Different costumes, a multitude of costumes. Costumes for me makes a game so much more fun, because sometimes they have different functions, sometimes they don't. It's just kicking ass in style. That's what I like. That's what I love. And we don't have that. And then for them to make Bloody Palace a DLC, that's even more interesting. Like, that's very interesting to me, because that's something initially that was put in the game to be unlocked, not to be downloaded. So why would they do that? And I can understand why people feel that it's lazy. Some people feel that V's lazy. He's a lazy character development. Some people feel like the story's half-assed, past mission 12, or even in the beginning. A lot of people didn't like the approach that they took with Nero's face render, ladies, Nico's, you name it. There's a whole lot of flaws with the game itself. But again, you have to give them that respect, because they provided us such a good game, and they've worked their asses off over the years. Now, you can say they might have got lazy in the game development toward the story. The direction that they've taken with that, we can only be grateful and just be thankful that we actually got DMC 5. Of course, with Ruben Langdon's old review, interview with, I think this happened probably a month ago, 2 months ago, he basically explained to us that Hideaki Itsuno wants to leave Capcom. And they said, we don't want you to leave. You've given us so much success. Why would you leave? We don't want you to leave. What can we do to make you initially happy? Hideaki said, well, I would love to make a DMC 5 and whatever other game that he chose to make. Now, we don't even have him for the next game, but he has given us cliffhangers for the next installment. DMC, what is that? DMC 6, there we go. Cliffhanger in DMC 5. DMC 5, V gives Nero his book, but also tells him that the next time they battle, he's not going to lose. Vergil and Dante go into the underworld. What happens with that? DLC for that, maybe. There's so much that they can give to us that the fans would just throw money at them, but I can understand it costs to give. They have to take out a portion of their earnings to provide more content, and hopefully they hope that it does well enough to where they get the sales back. Of course, it's all a money situation, and I can completely understand their marketing tools, techniques. But most games that are really successful, of course, Devil May Cry 5 may not be successful as God of War series, or what other series is pretty good? Dragon Ball Z series games, But hey, DMC, we have a big community, so why not give us what we want? This is just my personal opinion on the whole situation. Thank you guys for listening. I enjoy having this content, this kind of talk with you guys individually, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section if you made it this far. But yes, I initially believe that we should get DLCs, but I'm also going to say do not leave out the possibility of us getting DLCs, because we truly might get DLCs. Again, marketing standpoints, you have to look at what they're doing. They keep things secret. Hell, Johnny Longbosch and Dan Southworth didn't even know that they were working on a DMC 5 until they had to re-audition and they got called for it. They had to go audition for the roles, re-audition for the roles and everything. So that tells you something. Don't give up hope, devils. Don't be discouraged and have faith in the game. It's only been a few months. Give it some time. It's been ReZoura, guys. I love you all. Thank you for watching, and please have a good day. Bye.